YouTube, what up? We got our third pick of the week. We are riding with the New York Giants +6 on the road, another road pick against the Seattle Seahawks. This is another one of these games where I feel like our edge, it's been very hard to find plays this week. There just hasn't been a ton of value. As the season goes on, it becomes more obvious what teams are what, and it just seems like the opportunities to find value get slimmer. But we did find value in this game, and here's why I believe we have an edge in this game. The perception is totally off. The Giants right now are perceived as one of the worst teams in the league. Okay? And maybe it's true, but I don't believe it's true. I don't think they're one of the worst teams in the league. I think they're more like an average team, maybe slightly below average. Probably a little slightly below average, but not at like the bottom tier, not at the worst tier in the league. Like the Browns and, Raiders, super shitty teams like that. I don't have them in that same tier. I think they're just a below average team, not a shitty team, or not, bottom of the barrel. Seahawks, on the other hand, I'm not saying everybody has them as like a Chiefs, but I think they have them in that one of the higher tiers. You look at, especially that game on Monday Night Football, Geno Smith had a good performance. He looked really good. It was a high-scoring game. They were 3-0 going into that game, so that's fresh in everybody's head. They lost the game, but they still look good on offense. So I think the general perception of the Seahawks is that maybe they're not elite, but they're really good. That's what I'm hearing and seeing just the, looking at the market is that they're a really good team. That's the general probably consensus for the Seahawks right now. And I believe that to be false as well. The Seahawks, I believe, are actually more like an average team or a little bit below average. I think they're very overrated. So we have this mix of Giants are one thing, Seahawks are another. Let me get my hands right so I can fit in the camera. If they have the Giants here and the Seahawks here, this is the perception. I think it's a lot more like this. I think they're very even. So if I really would put them in the same tier. These teams are super close to me. Let's take a look at what they've actually done this year. So the Giants are 1-3. So that's instant perception. They're going to be looked at as shitty. They're 1-3. Their last game was a primetime game where they lost, similar to the Seahawks. But the Seahawks put up a lot of points. So they're, it's not like a super sour taste in the mouth for their perception because they still look good on offense. And it's fresh in everybody's head. Giants played on Thursday night. People remember them only putting up 15 points. Not as impressive, not as good of a perception. In reality, the Giants kicked 5 field goals in that game. They dominated the time of possession. They were getting a lot of first downs consistently. They just couldn't close out drives or connect on the deep balls. So there was a lot of good to take away from that Giants game, but it was misleading that they didn't play well based on the score. So again, perception. I know, sorry, I said the word a million times already, but it's true. Week 1, they got their ass beat by the Vikings, okay? And in that week 1, when we didn't know what the Vikings really were, we're like, damn, Giants really fucking blow. Like, they got smoked by the Vikings. It turns out that loss isn't as bad looking. They still got smoked, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like they got smoked by a bad team. They got smoked by what's considered now as like a top 5 team in football, the Vikings. So that's noted. And then week 2, they lost in overtime to the Redskins. Oh, the Commanders. Forgot we live in, pussy land. The Commanders. That is not as bad of a loss now, too. I didn't really watch that game, but I heard the Giants. Did they miss like a field goal to lose that game? Like, I feel like I heard they should have won that game. We look at what the Commanders are now, and they're really good with Jaden Daniels. So the Giants were in a game with a really good team there. Week 3, people thought the Browns were still a decent team. I've been saying they're shitty. They beat the Browns' ass. They really beat their ass because I think the Giants won this game 20-7. And the first play of the game, the Giants fumbled on the kick return, and the Browns got a touchdown. So that was fluky. So they really beat them like 20-0, unless I'm getting the score fucked up. It was something like that. And I believe the Giants had 8 sacks in that game. So this defense has a lot of potential to get going and get pressure on the quarterback. They have probably the best defensive interior player in the game. And Thibodeau, Thursday night, that dude was balling. That guy is really good. He was getting on Dak. Brian Burns needs to show up more. Still a little inconsistent, but they have a lot of pieces on that D-line that can cause problems for the opposing quarterback. And then I already broke down their game against Dallas. That was misconceiving as well. They did better than the score showed them to do. So that's the Giants. So everyone's, looking at them like shit. I look at them as they're close to average, a little bit below average, okay? The Seahawks, on the other hand, they are 3-1, perceived to be a good team, leading their division. Week 1, they did their job. They beat the Broncos. Looking back at it now, they did a good. I mean, it is what it is. It was Bo Nix's debut, so it's not like they beat a buzzsaw. But Geno, they did their job. It was like a decent win. Week 2 for the Seahawks, they actually should have lost this game. They were playing the New England Patriots, who are one of the worst teams in the league. So this would have been a really bad loss. The Patriots were kicking a 48-yard field goal to win the game, and it got blocked, and they end up losing in overtime. Seahawks get the win. So a game where the Patriots should have won, the Seahawks get a win, and everybody kind of forgets about that. So that was a bad win for the Seahawks. Week 3, are really counting it. The Dolphins are such a shit show right now. They beat Skylar Thompson, who I think I'm a better quarterback than. Literally just watch the guy play for 5 minutes. He's so bad. He has literally Tyreek Hill, and he can't even get close to the fucking guy. He's horrible. They put up 3 points against Seattle, and we know Seattle doesn't really have a great defense. So that tells you all you need to know about that win. So this team's a phony. That's my point. I'm not saying they're a horrible team. They're just phony. And then week 4, we saw it. Geno has these games sometimes where he looks really good, and you're like, damn, is Geno Smith like a top 5 quarterback in the league? But over a big enough sample size, we are always reminded, he's not top 5. He's probably not even top 10. He's more of an maybe between that 11 to 15 range, somewhere in there. That's usually where we're going to kind of end up at the end of the season. So, long story short, I still don't think their defense is impressive. We saw them get absolutely torched by a real team on Monday night in Detroit. So to conclude this, basically, I have them as a kind of an average to a little bit below average team. I'm really not that impressed with them. I think they're phony, and I think they're very similar to the Giants. So I look at this as 2 equal teams going at it. Seahawks get a little bit of home field advantage, but here's the thing. This week, the home field advantage, we give them an edge for, playing home for sure. But it's not going to be as high as normal because the Giants basically are coming off a mini bye. They played on Thursday, and the Seahawks are on a little bit of a rush week. They played Monday Night Football. So both of those favor the Giants, so that makes Seattle's edge that they have a little bit for the home field a little less. Hey guys, so something went wrong when with the end of the video I was making, so I had to refilm it. So hopefully this all makes sense and nothing gets left out. But basically all I was saying is that it's a bad spot for the Seahawks because they're coming off a short week on Monday Night Football, so they're a little bit rushed this week. Less rest for them. The Giants, on the other hand, it's a great scenario for them. They're coming off a mini bye because they played on Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys. So they're going to have more rest this week. So it's basically the best of the best news for the Giants on that front and the worst for Seattle. Seattle is at home, so they still get their home field advantage. But with the rest advantage the Giants get, it makes it less significant. So Seattle has a home field advantage. Giants have a rest advantage. My conclusion is it's going to make this a very close game, a game in which we like to be getting points through key numbers in. We're getting a +6. We're more than happy with that. So Giants official play, 1 unit. A unit's 1% of your bankroll. Bet responsibly as always. You never have to bet my picks. Just document it for the public to see how we do throughout the course of the season and, how we do by the end of the season. So that's it, boys. I think this is going to be our final pick video for the week. So hope you enjoyed, and we'll have a recap video coming out next week. Good luck to everybody that's betting. Let's have another good weekend. Let's make it 3 good weekends in a row. All right, boys. I'll see you. Peace.